So today's not all peaches and cream. And this manufacturer may not like that, but it is what it is. So I'm using the Westcott lights, the FJ80 version 2. Here's the thing. When you place your light like this with an umbrella, like I love using umbrellas, especially with silver. This is the worst because the light goes, I'll show you the video right after I'm done talking really quickly, I promise. But you get uneven patterns. But they have that 1/4 inch 20 on the side here, which I put this nut in that comes with these grips, the mag grips. So I can mount it sideways, which is more secure anyway. And if I just tilt it just a little bit, I get the center shot on the silver umbrella and white umbrella, which gives more even coverage. And it just works better. White, it's not as bad, but silver, it really matters. So that I love. The battery life is pretty good. I did a full shoot today and I have probably half battery left, but I was at full power the entire time. The other one is the FJ80 SE. Okay. Um, I don't know what battery is left on this one. This one wasn't as, yeah, I had it really low for the entire shoot. I'm talking like ones and twos on this one. But I like this one. It's not the touch screen, but it doesn't have the 1/4 20 on this one, only the 82 um, M or whatever it's called. So I asked for these from Westcott because I really want to try them. I never tried them before. And when I saw this 1/4 20 on this, I thought, okay, this may be something. So I had them send me the Nikon one for the Hasselblad because Hasselblad uses Nikon TTL. The TTL was poor. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how it is on the Nikon, haven't tried it, but on the Hasselblad, it's just poor. The only flash that I've used on the Hasselblad that has good TTL so far is the Profoto. Now, again, the Nikon remote Profoto flash, and the TTL is pretty decent. That is the only one. Godox, the flash won't even flash in TTL mode on the Hasselblad. I don't know what it is. I'm going to still work on that, figure out if I can figure it out. I'm also going to show you on the Sony. Now, there's one issue with the Sony where when you put the remote on the camera and you push the buttons, I'll just show you this while I'm talking, to change it from manual to TTL to paused. If the camera's off, it works fine. When you turn the camera on, it doesn't work anymore. I don't know why, but I'll reach out to Westcott and figure that out. It may be something I'm doing wrong. So, I don't want to say that it's bad right off the top, but I've been trying it and it hasn't been working. So that's not great. But I have to reach out to them to figure it out. The other thing I like is I like that these lay flat. I see a bunch of photographers shooting with them up like this, and I get that, can see it easier. But if I'm looking at someone, I'm going to be able to look over this without having to go all the way up. Simple things, but the remote's not bad at all. But in TTL, this did a pretty decent job. I was really surprised actually on how well it did. So not minding that at all. Now, I like the lights, and in manual mode, these are fantastic. And if you're getting into their whole lighting system, they have the 400, and now they have an 800, I believe. This may be a really good system for you because they're in the US. Obviously they're most likely made overseas, but they repair them in the US. They're right in Ohio, I think. So you have a place to send them to repair. Not like unlike the Flashpoint series from Adorama. I don't know the price differentials or anything like that, but I know a lot of people love their studio series, their 400s and their 800s. I think, I don't know because I've never used them myself. Anyway, let's get to the shoot and see how we do with these. Now, I know everybody wants me to get right to the shoot, but I want to get over this stuff or show this stuff because this kind of stuff is important. I'm just using the Profoto small umbrella, the deep small. Don't buy a Profoto. $100, $200 for an umbrella is ridiculous. Just go to Amazon, go to B&H, go to Adorama, get a cheap umbrella. It's going to work the same. The deep umbrella is great. This is the light pattern with that flash in vertical. You can see how far up it is. Now, obviously, it would fill even more if the power was up on the flash, but you still have that uneven light pattern. now I want to show it to you in the horizontal mode because of that 1/4 20. This is brilliant. Um, and you just tilt the head down just a little bit to make sure it's centered. Even with it in the horizontal mode, you still have to tilt the head down just a little bit, but you can do that because it's horizontal. You can't do that in the vertical mode. It doesn't tilt down far enough. The light pattern matters with an umbrella, especially a deep umbrella. Well, pretty much any umbrella. Now, here's the other issue. So you can see camera is on and I can't change it out of TTL. It just won't allow me. If I shut the camera off, now I go to change it, it changes without a problem. I can go into any mode I want. But I'm going to put it in the off position. Now I'm going to turn the camera back on, and it immediately goes right back into TTL as soon as I turn the camera back on. So hopefully this is a firmware issue or I'm doing something wrong. But I reached out to Westcott to find out. I'll let you know if anything. That, again, is only happening on the Sony. It doesn't happen on the Nikon one. Now, here it is on the Hasselblad in TTL mode. You can see it's underexposed. And, my backlight is manual, but I had it too hot, so I have to turn that down. And it may look a lot hotter because, the TTL was bad. But I want to show you this stuff. I don't want to make everything sugarcoat and go, these are wonderful. They're the best things since sliced bread. Now, let me tell you something. I love the flashes. This is my very first time with them. This is my very first shoot with them. And I do like them. It took me a little bit to get used to them, changing everything because I'm not used to these lights. But that isn't to say they're not easy to use. It's just something I haven't used before. I do like them. What's nice, by the way, I show this gray card in almost every video because I want you guys to shoot gray card. And this time I want to actually show you. Now with the Hasselblad, I can set the white balance in camera with the gray card, which makes a difference. But here it is. This is before gray card. You can see how orange it is on auto white balance. Now I shoot the gray card. The white balance is set and you can see the difference. It's like night and day. So I just wanted to show you that. If you can't set it in camera, just shoot that gray card and then do the white balance in Lightroom. It'll save you so much time and it is so much better than guessing. Okay, back to the shoot. So the small white umbrella, deep umbrella, is giving me great coverage. And I can't stress it enough because a lot of people don't have the room for giant umbrellas. If you don't have the room, you can use a small umbrella and still get full coverage. But I want to show you, the good and the bad with this stuff. I always show you my bad shots as well as my good shots when I do this kind of stuff, because I think it's important. And these little tips, I hope, help. And this is stuff I make mistakes all the time with. There it is, full coverage with that small umbrella, small deep umbrella. And you can see the distance. It's not that far. So, pay attention to that. If you have a small space, don't worry about it. You can use an umbrella. And with these lights, with that 1/4 20, you can get full coverage because there's even distribution on the umbrella itself. Now, here's a mistake that I make, and I make this all the time. Do you see her arm on this side? It's like this nub sticking out. I have to turn her more or pull that arm out more. And I'll show you another example too. This is another thing I always do. The hand from nowhere. You got to watch this stuff. But when this happens, show it to your model. Like take the camera over and say, hey, listen, we got to watch this. We got to, bring that arm out or twist you just a little bit more so we can see the arm. So it's just not a hand from nowhere. Just a tip for you. And I've been doing this for 42 years and I still do this stuff. Thank God for digital. I can actually see it. Back in the film days, I used to forget this stuff and it was horrible. Anyway, make sure you can see their arm, rather than just nubs or hands. It's kind of awkward. So I pulled this in just a little bit because I love a small white umbrella, especially deep because it controls the light really well. And you can do a nice headshot with this as well. I'm excited about these lights because of that 1/4 20. Now, I like the 80 SE. I think it's a great little flash. And I like that it's, not touchscreen. So if you wanted to use a handheld, it's smaller. Battery life was great on it. And there's no touchscreen. So if you want to hand hold it, you don't have to worry about touching the screen while you're hand holding it. So I think this is a nice combo. And if you add in one of their 400 studio flashes or 800 studio flashes with one or two of these, that's a whole lighting system. Now, here I switched over to Sony. This is out of camera TTL, no compensation. I'm going to take it down to 0.7, and then I'm going to take it down to a full -1. It works then. There's no issues with the TTL if you just take, the compensation down to -0.7. Here's the one miss that I had when I was shooting with the Sony. Other than that, it worked fine. The problem was, here it is without flash, because everybody always asks me about that.
The problem is if I can't control that backflash in manual mode, it's a problem for me because, that's where it, kind of blows out all the time. The TTL was doing pretty decent, but I still want control over my light. Now I'm back with the Hasselblad back in manual mode. By the way, I'm shooting the Hasselblad X1D Mark II with the 45 millimeter f4P. I love that lens, and that's their only lens that you can actually shoot manual mode that is not by wire. It is actual manual. Just in case you guys didn't know, that's a nice little lens. Autofocus is not great on that thing at all, but you know other than that. Okay, so I switched over to the big silver umbrella. I love this because I can never shoot silver with speedlights, because that off-centered. With this, I can. Now, I know there's the S bracket. That is big, bulky, and heavy, and I hate it. I know Westcott put one out that's a fast one that you just clamp down, which I think is very unique, with the Bowens mount. So if you want that with Bowens, I think that would be great. But for me, I hate them because they're big and bulky. So I like that this 1/4 20 is on this flash for that alone because I shoot umbrella so often. And I'm usually shooting other lights because of that off-centered part. This saves that. And with white, I can still get away with it, even if it's in the vertical mode. But silver, there's no way to get away with it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the shoot. If you have any questions, leave them below. Thanks for watching as always.